We're on the verge of a very competitive spring real estate market, and we want to prepare our buyers and sellers so they can get the best possible results.
So today, we're going to talk about home inspections with Ross Kennedy.
Hey Ross.
Hey guys, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Put my bag down and come greet you.
Thanks for making it down.
Yes.
Great, no worries. Good to see you
to
as
see
always.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And welcome to our model house that we have today.
Beautiful. Looks
This-
great.
Yeah. So we're hoping to pick your brain today and
Sure.
let it be to the benefit of everyone listening.
That's
Yes.
great.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, Kennedy Home Inspections has been my business for the last 10 years. My entree into it was being a contractor first. And so it's always good to know what's behind the wall before you inspect the wall, right?
So let's talk about why it's important for a buyer to get a home inspection, because
Sure.
well, we know in this market a lot of buyers are waiving inspections.
Correct, right. So if you have a home buyer coming in to buy a home and they're like, I have this down, I know stuff about houses, even if they're a contractor, they don't necessarily look at it in the same eyes as a home inspector might. We want to look at everything from a visual, non-destructive home, that's our perspective. We can't tear open walls during a home inspection.
Right.
But we can make a recommendation as to whether or not we think a wall should be torn open later on so that they have every bit of information they need.
And we're all aware of what a competitive real estate market
Yeah,
that we're in right now.
correct.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why people are waiving home inspections.
Yes.
They want to be at the top of the list.
Right.
And they want to get that house.
Right.
Basically. But what are some of the
Yeah.
risks that they're facing when
Well,
they're doing that?
there are bigger risks in terms of cost, and I think that's where, yes, there's the safety risks, but there are the expense risks. What happens if they don't look at a sewer line going from the house to the curb? I'm not saying these things happen all the time, but there's always that risk of the one thing they didn't think about that they might have needed would have come up on an inspection that saved them from quite a large, catastrophe, like fire or what have you, or flood, or just big expense.
So on the seller side, you don't usually think of the seller of having this service
Correct.
necessarily.
Right,
The buyer's trying to protect themselves and their future investment.
yes.
But why would a seller go through?
I leave it up to the realtors to decide how they want to use that information from a
Yeah.
seller's perspective, because sometimes why would you hand over information that the seller may not even be interested in having? I think primarily from my perspective, it's to give the seller the chance to have a punch list of items to just take off the list so it doesn't become an issue in the way. Obviously, some of these items might be bigger items that are going to come up on a township inspection or licenses and inspections,
Right.
For the city. Beyond that, it's a protection so that if the buyer does have an inspection done and it doesn't waive them, you have me as a resource plus the report that I produce to say, hey, this is the scope and scale of what they should be looking at from the buyer's side. If they're telling you that this has to be done and this has to be done, but it really doesn't, you have me as a backup.
I hadn't thought of that before.
No, that's
And
great.
it comes up, quite often.
All right, we'll talk about being helpful. Would it be helpful to walk through this house and maybe
Sure.
give us some of your opinions on things?
Sure. So every process is the same when I do an inspection. It starts on the outside with the roof, the front exterior, the back exterior, but then when I come out on the inside, I always start with the basement. Any moisture concerns you have, it's all going to be centered down here. And then it leads from one floor up to the other floor, which has less information, but it starts here because this informs a lot of what we need to know for the other floors of the house.
Right, I'm sure it's like gathering clues,
Correct.
and then you follow the trail from there.
Yes, right. Yep.
Okay.
And if you need further experts, specialists, basement dry specialists, or plumbers, or electricians, if you need any of those, you have time hopefully built into your deadline to get those things in here as well as needed.
I'm just laughing thinking about how people hire you, but they don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
What are some of the most common things that you would look for?
Yes.
Or maybe that you find?
Well, electrical is a big one, particularly it depends on the age of the home. And basic structural. If people have been DIYing the house and they've been moving walls and they've been doing other things that sometimes they don't know what they're doing, that can cause a problem for the buyer.
Listen, we thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
out
this
and
is
spending your
worries.
time with us
Yeah,
today.
it's exciting. It's good work done here, so
Yeah.
congratulations. So KennedyHomeInspections.com is the easiest way to reach me. We do all the home inspections in the greater Philadelphia area.
Thank you again, Ron.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you
Pleasure
so
to
much
be with you guys as always.
for taking
Yeah.
the time.
Of course.
Yes.
We're Rich and Lisa Small from Realty Mark Cityscape, and we want to thank you for spending this time with us today.